You're listening to Free Zone Radio. She famously claims, "I have always depended on the kindness of strangers." But is it more of a kindness to tell the truth, however harsh the light, or to let a person have the dignity of their lies and darkness? For Free Zone Radio, I'm Jason Crockett, and this is Second Stage. Tennessee Williams' hit A Streetcar Named Desire drops audiences into a cramped New Orleans apartment where heat, desire, memory, sex, and resentment all press in at once. The protagonist, Blanche Dubois, arrives with all kinds of baggage, literal and metaphorical, bejeweled with glittery stories about who she was and who she still hopes to be. The play's antagonist, Blanche's brother-in-law, Stanley Kowalski, has no patience for her stories. Stanley's a macho man who only has patience for facts, power, and control of his own dominion. And between them stands Stella, Blanche's sister and Stanley's wife, who tries to hold this little family together as long as she can. First staged in 1947, Streetcar became a hallmark of American theater. It wasn't Williams' first success, but it came to be one of his biggest successes. Tennessee Williams brought psychological realism, raw sexuality, and emotional volatility to the stage in a way audiences hadn't quite seen before. His characters maybe don't symbolize ideas so much as they collide with those ideas and one another. Blanche is not simply fragile, and Stanley isn't simply cruel. As Macbeth says, two truths are told, and these two are incompatible visions of reality forced into the same sweaty room. This is a play that asks those uncomfortable questions about masculinity, loyalty, illusion, class, desire, and what happens when the stories we tell ourselves stop protecting us. It's a play that students would need to feel in order to fully understand. But unlike earlier generations, many of today's kids, many of today's parents and readers would arrive without the cultural shorthand. A Streetcar Named Desire always seemed to be a title people probably would have recognized before they ever read it. But nowadays, for most of us, it's a first encounter rather than a familiar reference point, which changes how the play lands and how we have to talk about it in the classroom. That tension between empathy and judgment, between performance and truth, is exactly why we wanted to sit down with this one. Like all the other plays we bring up on this show, Streetcar does not offer clean answers. It holds a mirror up, first in the dim, papery light of half-truths, then in the bald, unkind, unshaded light. This week's guest has been in this conversation before. Last time it was about the trifles men stereotypically overlook and undervalue. But this time we're talking about what happens when nothing is overlooked at all, when power and desire and judgment are all dragged out into the open and refusing to stay polite. I'm going to naturally need you to be the funny one.
It doesn't help that I'm not very funny. So,
can you do like a Southern accent? Maybe we should do this whole podcast where I talk like Stanley Kowalski.
You just like yell at me.
Blanche.
I say, well, I do declare.
So Tennessee Williams was an American playwright. I don't really read books. Hey, that's a Stanley Kowalski right there.
Yes.
I don't really read books. I'm a king of my own kingdom.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it the way he would have said.
And you know he's not comprehending what she's saying. He's not even probably listening. He's like...
Boy, that's a Stanley Kowalski right there. Why? Why? What, you expected to have a play like this, or what?
Well, I went into it blind, not knowing what it was about, period. And so,
what do you expect, or what should audiences expect out of a play like this?
passion. Passion. Sweat. All things felt sweaty.
I am so grossed out by these characters already. You know, that's true. I don't think you can read this play, or you certainly can't watch it without feeling drenched in sweat.
Yeah.
I mean, every production I've seen of it, they're sweating through their shirts, they're sweating through their clothes. One of the ones I watched, when Blanche shows up, there's Eunice and the other woman sitting out there in the front, and Eunice always has her dress hiked up across her lap, and it's just like, Eunice, please, there are people here. Like, put the dress down, woman. But they're all just like burning up and sweating. So everybody's just like hogs. We're all just wandering around, sweating, breathing. And here's Blanche.
Breathing and breathing.
Like high school kids.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe this play is suitable for high school. Maybe it would catch them.
Maybe it is high school.
Maybe. So, A Streetcar Named Desire. You knew nothing about it coming into it. What did you expect out of it, though? You said passion, but you had no idea about this. What did you expect out of a play like this?
I knew that Marlon Brando played one of the characters.
Heck yes.
And so, I don't know, like I didn't expect that I was going to hate his character so much.
Because it's Brando?
Yeah. No, and so I went into it blind, and I'm going to tell you, I thought, is this a play about racing? Streetcar. I was like, oh, he's giving me a streetcar book.
Streetcars, for you in the audience, in case you don't know, are the trolleys that go by in New Orleans. They're the old electric cars that would go by.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does sound like, I mean, it's Brando. It's got to be a hot rod or something like that. This was early on, not to spoil some of the stuff later, but this was early on. Like, this was his big debut into film and theater and stuff like that. I mean, he had been doing some work, but this is what put Brando on the map. And as a completely heteronormative guy, I can appreciate why audiences would like Marlon Brando. I see it. Gotcha. But man, it is tough. Like, you expect, oh, they're going to love Marlon Brando. The women are going to swoon for him. But he's a bad guy. Stanley Kowalski's a bad guy.
And he's gross. And he's just
gross. Tennessee Williams. You know anything about him? You ever hear about this guy? You know anything about him?
No.
I always just assumed as a kid who came up in English classes and stuff, it's Tennessee Williams. He must be Tennessee something. He has nothing to do with Tennessee at all. But he was born, everybody talks about how he was born Thomas Lanier Williams, and it's not until he's in his 20s and he's finally getting his writing career started that he moves to New Orleans and redubs himself Tennessee Williams. I wonder why he picked the name Tennessee, though. Just because it sounds cool, maybe? I wonder why.
I know. It makes you wonder, like, did something happen in Tennessee in his life?
Nothing that I've read suggests that. Like, I mean, I've read stuff and I've watched some YouTubes and things, but I never pick up on that. So he starts out in one state, and then his parents move him and his siblings to another state. And they were mocked when they finally land in St. Louis, Missouri. They were mocked as school children for their Southern accent.
Oh, gosh.
Because y'all come here talking like you're from the South. And then it's later on that he retransplants himself to New Orleans and finds it like, here's where I belong, living in New Orleans. There really was a streetcar in front of his tenement, in front of his building. The streetcar labeled Desire drove back and forth in front of his place.
Oh, wow.
So he uses it here in the play. It is kind of cool that a play like this, like Tennessee Williams is literally sitting at a window looking out on people like Stella and Stanley, and there's the streetcar and all of that. I thought it was... At first, I just expected the title to be like, oh, here's this flashy streetcar named Desire. So you've got characters who are, like you said, going to be swept away on passions. No, there really is a streetcar. It's labeled like that's the name of it, Desire, that drives back and forth. his first play, like this is not his first play. This is the one, like his first play was a success, but this is the one that really made it big for him. But his first play was The Glass Menagerie. And it is a play I have to say I've never read. I never read this in Dr. Eisen's class. I never read it in any of my college classes. I've never taught it in my AP or honors classes before. But I think that's one I'm going to dig back through too. And it made him a good reputation. Mm-hmm. And then Hollywood was like, yeah, we'll turn that into a movie. And so he was okay with it. And then Hollywood completely changed the ending. They gave it a happy ending, and the movie flopped.
Oh, gosh.
And it gave him a bad reputation. So then he comes out with Streetcar, and allegedly, this was only supposed to run for like a set number of weeks. The first premiere showing of Streetcar Named Desire, audiences kind of waited for a second and then gave it a standing ovation that went on for 30 minutes of unchecked applause. People just rooting and hollering for it.
Oh my gosh.
It was apparently a hoot and a holler.
Yeah.
This way. And then it went on for like 800 some performances. Like, I'm trying to imagine a career where Marlon Brando, surely he didn't do all 800 some of these performances. Maybe his understudies or some of the others did. But can you imagine going on for years playing Streetcar Named Desire? Like that's the big theater show. When Hollywood bought up this play, he was much more cautious about, okay, but we're not going to do some of these things. And they kept most of the original cast. They kept the ending for the most part. They changed a few things to get past what might have been seen as obscene by some audiences, because there is, sexuality and stuff in here. So you got to make sure 1950s audiences are all right with it. But yeah, this is the one that really knocked it out of the park for him. It's his pot boiler.
Yes.
It's the big one.
Well, I can see why. It's almost a little reality TV-ish. The stuff that's going on in this play, you almost feel like it's Real Housewives.
The Real Housewives and House Husbands of New Orleans. I think that was the original title of the play, too. No, sugar. I should have done better. There was an original title to this play, and he changed it. Oh, what was it? Well, now I'm a terrible person. But there was. I'll edit this out because I don't have that in front of me now. But yeah, there was a completely different title for it. Glass Menagerie was in 44. This one came out in 47. And Tennessee Williams, from what I've picked up, Tennessee Williams plays are a great example of using the Southern Gothic on stage. Southern Gothic really gets its start with Edgar Allan Brough, who, you're looking at these plays or novels or short stories that are going to give you these decaying settings, morally complex characters, themes of, desire and decay, and you got social tension, and it's really supposed to be about exposing the dark undercurrents beneath this facade of genteel Southern life. One of the best examples that I use in class is Faulkner's story, A Rose for Emily. You ever read that one or anything? I'm going to get you to read that one.
Yeah.
I'll read your all's Langston Hughes story if you read my Faulkner short story. But it's a great example of here's this old decaying house of this old decaying family in the South. And the way I try to explain it to my class is we always think about the South, especially because we live here in the South. And I think for a lot of people, you immediately get swept away with this idea of a grandiose plantation, the white columns, the women in big dresses. I think we have so many girls in class who would want to go get their pictures taken, or I want to have my wedding on the lawn at this plantation.
The rolling prairie farms. And yes.
But the problem is, this image of a glorified South is a big fat lie.
Has such a dark history.
It's got such a dark history. You want to get your pretty pictures taken in front of a plantation, girl. That plantation was built upon the backs of people who were beaten, who were stolen away, who were engaged in slavery, treated like animals for their entire life. This whole fantastic, ideal of the South was built on brutality and lies.
That makes me think of Blake Lively. She was canceled a couple of years ago because it came out that her and Ryan Reynolds were married at a big plantation farm.
That's what this was all about?
Yes, this was before the Colleen Hoover drama with Blake Lively.
I don't know anything about that either. I need you to tell me about that.
Oh, yeah. No, so she was hired as an actress for a Colleen Hoover book adaptation. The producer and director of this movie, Justin Baldoni, was also an actor, and she is claiming that he sexually harassed her through the filming of this. And he's like, what is going on? She basically pushed me out of my own movie. She and Ryan Reynolds pushed themselves into this production and basically bullied everybody because of their status and their name. And she now is making this up. And I mean, it's still in court. There's all kinds. He's like, I have the receipts.
I've seen that there was drama about their names, but I couldn't have told you what it was about.
I'm so sick of seeing her name, seeing Ryan Reynolds' name, seeing Justin Baldoni's name, even though I do think he's innocent. It's just like, but
we're just kind of tired of that.
Which I also don't read Colleen Hoover in the first place, but I'm also sick of seeing her name.
Radio America, I wish you'd seen the sneer that she just had when she said Colleen Hoover. Her nose, I'm not going to descend to read that.
I'm not a fan.
So if Blake Lively were going to be in a production of Streetcar, is she the Stanley Kowalski here? Is she like a female, a Stella Kowalski who's not nice?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Then who? And then your director's going to be the Blanche.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So this cancel culture, it does have a double-edged blade to it that goes both ways. And you all out there can be mad at me. I do think that there are people in this country who need to be canceled. I do think that there are some really bad influences on our people right now who just need to be. There was a great episode of A Twilight Zone where it was called The Monster in the Cornfield, I think it was. And, there's this monster in central Ohio who has made everything disappear. And it turns out it's this little boy who has discovered psychic powers. And on whims, if he doesn't like you, he just makes you disappear into the cornfield. He deletes you from existence, and nobody can leave town. Everybody has to be nice to him. We celebrate his birthday and we bring him toys and everything. And don't say anything wrong. Don't say anything wrong, because otherwise he'll look at you and go, and just delete you. Part of me wonders if we shouldn't just wish some of these bad social influences away into the court field. I mean, there's how many Hollywood people have come out who previously kept these abuses quiet, right? Mm-hmm. And then when it's like the big name producer, the big name director is finally brought, into the light, others will stand up and say, hey, me too, I was there. I never had that voice before, but me too, because you wouldn't believe me before, but now there's enough of us, me too. And boy, that goes two ways. Here there are people who abuse that by saying, oh, he did awful things to me, but that's not true. Mm-hmm. And immediately there's that willing suspense of belief, I'm not even going to question whether he did or not. The woman said so. Let's go with it. So we do have to be careful about that. Blake Lively, we got to be careful about that. I'm actually going to keep that in this episode because such a thing actually has a lot to do, I think, with Streetcar Named Desire, especially toward the end of it when accusations get made and do we believe or do we not believe? Yeah, there's so often that the Southern Gothic, these kids, especially these kids in our classes around here who idolize what the South was, Radio America, I don't care what you think, whatever. There are students in our classroom who have Confederate flag stickers on their trucks, who have Confederate flag shirts. And it's like you don't even really, I think, wrap your heads around what you mean by it. These yee kids who just love the idea of the South will rise again because Hank Williams sang so. Like, what does that even mean to you? Because you're also best friends with, white kids in class, black kids in class, and that doesn't necessarily mean a good thing for everybody involved here. It's a gilded lily, but when you strip the gold off of it, you find out it's rotten underneath. The whole core of what you were talking about is rotten, and that's the Southern Gothic. Boy, it sure shows up in this play too.
It does.
I don't know about Glass Menagerie, but it sure shows up in this play. Tell us if you were explaining it to your husband and he's never read this play before, how are you going to explain what this play is about?
Okay. So you have a set of siblings, Stella and Blanche. Blanche arrives in New Orleans to visit her sister Stella and her husband Stanley. And when she arrives, she sees the way that Stella and Stanley are living, which is not up to par with this Southern life that they have previously led. And with Blanche, everything is about appearances and how she presents herself to people, and it's all a big illusion. And so as the play goes on, these illusions start to fade, and you start seeing who these characters really are on the inside, and you start seeing what they really stand for, and you find out that people have secrets, they've been hiding things, and at the end, everything basically hits the fan.
It really does.
I mean, it's like boom, 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 boom right there at the end.
When we go through the plot, I need to talk about that too, because while Hollywood, I was saying before, mostly did Mr. Williams okay with his second play here, they also, again, changed a little bit about the movie of it, just to make it palatable to audiences. Man, we sure feel this need, because it can be so heavy. It can be really heavy with some of these things that happen here. Your main character, Blanche, you've got Stanley, Stella. I also think his buddy Mitch is not necessarily a main character, but he's like a secondary.
I agree.
Right?
I think he's important to this story.
If you were teaching this to a class, who are you going to pick as your protagonist, though? Because we always say that our plots have to have a protag. Who's the protagonist?
I would say Blanche. I feel like the story follows Blanche.
I think so.
Yeah.
But why is that? Why is protagonist or antagonist such a difficult thing to immediately be like, oh, it's obviously so-and-so?
Well, I feel like, and I always tell my students this when we're going over it, I feel like somewhere along the way, we get this idea that protagonist is good guy, antagonist is bad guy. And I mean, there's a clear antagonist in this play.
Yes.
But I'm also going to say I don't know if any of these characters are super likable.
I know.
I think Mitch is honestly the only likable character,
know.
which is why we want to throw him in there.
I know.
And so, I mean, I didn't like Blanche.
No.
But she's still your protagonist.
Yeah.
And it's like, ugh. And you don't want to not like your protagonist. But sometimes that happens.
Well, I mean, it's true. I don't know if it's that certain teachers have always taught, well, the protagonist is the good guy. He wears the white cowboy hat. Mm-hmm. Or if somewhere along the way, we as students just assumed our teachers said that. Or, I don't know, pro meaning good. I don't know where we pick that. Yeah. But I mean, you have anti-heroes out there. So protagonist can't always be a good guy.
Well, I always think about like the movie Wreck-It Ralph. He's technically the bad guy in his world, but he's our protagonist.
I like a lot of, I should not, but I like a lot of these TV series where the protagonist is an evil, manipulative person.
Like you. Yes, Joe Goldberg.
Right. Have you ever seen Sopranos?
I've watched the first season. Yes.
I didn't know if you would like a show like Sopranos.
Oh, no,
I don't know. But Tony Soprano is not a good guy.
But you love him.
Why am I rooting for him
Yes.
left and right? Or in Netflix's series House of Cards, Frank Underwood is not a good guy. In Breaking Bad, Walter White is not a good guy. But
in Sons of Anarchy, Jack Taylor is not a good guy.
He's doing bad things, and yet we kind of root for him. I don't root for Blanche.
I don't
I'm
either.
sorry, I don't.
I rolled my eyes at her so many times. I was like, oh my gosh, Blanche, shut up.
In one of the performances, I read this somewhere that in one of the performances, the woman who was playing Stella got to sit with Tennessee Williams and asked him, like, okay, so in going through this, what do you expect one of the themes, like one of the big messages for our audience to get out of it? And I don't know how a writer on set is supposed to react to that, but allegedly, the answer he gave to her was that I think we need to have an appreciation for the fragile, vulnerable ones in our life. Tennessee Williams grew up in a family where his father was a traveling salesman. He's not around a whole lot. Mother is kind of like an emotionally withdrawn person who's at home with the kids. His sister, his older sister, had bouts of schizophrenia and was always like living this life of, I don't know that I'm really seeing the world the way that everybody sees it. And then he's got his younger brother, Dakin, who I don't know that there was ever any problems with. But from a very early age, Tennessee Williams was characterized as a very effeminate boy. And when his father did come home, his sweaty, manly man, masculine father did not appreciate this kid that he often referred to as Miss Nancy or something like that, that he's not being a real boy or whatever. You have Tennessee Williams as a young gay man struggling with an older sister who has delusions about what really is going on in her life. And then you have this oppressive, sweaty male figure that's also in your life. Blanche seems to be patterned off his sister. Mm-hmm. And Stanley, I mean, none of these influences in any of our writing is 100% anybody. But I do think that Stanley seems to be patterned off his father, too. Mm-hmm. So he probably has empathy for these fragile ones, whether it's his sister or whether it's his own, young self, or even in the 1950s, whatever, this homosexual role that he exhibits in the 1950s.
Well, even, Blanche's husband.
Yeah.
I mean, there's empathy for that character. And
so that didn't show up in your summary. Tell the audience, what about Blanche? She had a husband?
That's true. So Blanche shows up in New Orleans, and she has recently lost her husband, who I think she knew he was gay.
Oh, yes, 100%.
And because she is okay with these illusions and this putting up a front for everyone, she lived with it until she saw it with her own eyes. Mm-hmm. And when he realizes she saw it, he commits suicide.
Yeah. And you didn't cover it. It's not one of the major plot points in your summary. The Hollywood movie, they eliminate that from it. They don't bring it up in there because they're making a movie palatable to audiences of the 50s. But yeah, 100%. Here's Tennessee Williams incorporating that. Blanche's husband was a gay man. I think I'd have to go back in the text. I think she referred to him as a very beautiful man, a very sensitive man.
Sensitive. She kept using sensitive
what
when describing
coded words,
him.
Right? What coded language for that. And that they had a fun time, but it seemed like a fanciful, whimsical kind of relationship.
They were real good friends.
Real good friends. But yeah, then she catches him in the act with an older man, and she didn't say anything about it. At that time, she didn't say anything about it. She just kind of played it off. But it's only later when they're both drunk at an event, and she apparently came out and said, "You disgust me." And then he goes and kills himself. Tennessee Williams apparently said that this play really should be about we need to be more aware and considerate and protective of the weak, the fragile, those that are abused in society. Long story to say, I can appreciate that about Blanche. I can appreciate that about you, Mr. Williams, or about your sister, or any of us, my students in class. I still don't root for Blanche. I have a really hard time rooting for this protagonist. Not a good guy hero at all. Not that.
No. Because she's in the wrong plenty.
Why is she in the wrong plenty?
Well, she is just this overtly sexual character.
Yes.
Who just puts it out there, one. But she's also at the same time presenting herself as this very pure, innocent character. She shows up to New Orleans wearing all white. And, when you think white, you think angelic, you think pure. But then as the story goes on, you find out all of these things about Blanche. She has been fired from her job as an English teacher because she slept with a 17-year-old student. And then she strikes up this relationship with Mitch, but when... Is it a delivery person? What was was it someone that worked on the...
Oh, yeah. It's this boy that comes by the house.
This boy shows up to the house, and she pressures him into giving her a little kiss before he goes.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what are you doing, Blanche?
And even before the student affair, as far as we know, she was already a fallen woman in the town of Laurel. She had been having affairs or relationships with
she's
all
a
sorts
woman
of
of the night.
She is a fallen woman. Blanche comes to us from a plantation that had, as plantations would do, had a grandiose name. Their family home was called Belle Rive, which in French means beautiful dream, which I think also is like, oh, what a great name for all of this is just a lie, a lie. Dreams aren't real. You're choosing to remember it in this cutesy little way, but a dream's a dream. It's not real. And
Blanche's whole life is a beautiful dream.
Yeah. But Stanley is grounded in what's real. He doesn't want any of that fancy. Blanche comes to us with lies. She comes to us with shaded half-truths on everything. And I think right from the get-go, she is almost ready to just scream. I think when she shows up and she's looking around and she's trembling and everything in every production I've seen, I kind of just imagine if you came around the corner and went, boo, Blanche would scream.
I mean, she's on the verge of a panic attack.
She is on the verge of breaking from the beginning of this play. Stanley, well, let's talk about Stella first. Stella's her younger sister.
Right.
And if both of these girls came from privileged class, Stella left it long ago, and she's adapted to a more modern world. And maybe socially speaking, she's taken a step down by marrying this, what Blanche calls this commoner, that he's so common, he's so vulgar. But Stella doesn't mind that. Stella actually really, really, really likes that.
Oh, a lot.
She's
very submissive.
She is so submissive. She says, like, even in this first meeting with Blanche, she goes on and on and on about the passion between them. If that were my sister, I'd be like, woman, shoo.
Yeah.
Tie it down.
I mean, it's like a very sexual relationship that they have.
Yeah.
I think that's their only draw to each other.
Stella's already pregnant by the beginning, but she wants to keep that surprise a secret from Blanche because she knows, okay, Blanche is fragile. Blanche is this weak, fragile, delicate person. We just got to ease her into it. And then Stanley comes in. Stanley with his sweaty shirt and his bowling and his lunchbox and his buddies and his poker games and all of that. Stella tells him that the family plantation's been lost. And that's when Stanley seems to actually pipe up with interest. Why does he suddenly get so interested at that point?
It's like he realizes he's lost something. He sees profit from Belle Rive.
Yeah. He invokes the Napoleonic Code. I remember Dr. Eisen telling us about that because I'd never learned about it before then. But in his view of the Napoleonic Code, what belongs to my wife is actually mine. And if you've lost your inheritance, that means I've been cheated out of what's my inheritance. So he wants to know, well, why is it gone? Because of why? Did she lose it? Like, who's to blame for this? And freaking Stanley Kowalski has this line that comes up over and over of, I've got a buddy who's an expert in this. I'll have him check it out. I've got a buddy who's
got
an
a
expert
lot
in
of
these
buddies.
docs. He sounds like the guy on Pawn Stars who's like, I don't really know about samurai swords, but I've got a friend who's an expert. I'm going to call him in on this. Well, Stanley apparently has an expert friend on legal documents and rhinestone jewelry.
Tiaras.
Tiaras and all of that. But he's also just kind of a blowhard, you know. It bothered me when Blanche first showed up and Stella if she would leave the room, Blanche is immediately opening the liquor cabinet and immediately sets to drinking. Like that's like, oh, okay. You're an alcoholic. You're a drunk. Got it.
You're coping with something.
Didn't even ask. Was just like, oh, here, let me pour me a drink or whatever. when Stanley is going to meet her, Stella says, please go gentle on her. Please go gentle. Don't do this. And Stanley's whole reaction is, so, what happens? What happens? I'll whatever. I should say that he's ripping through her trunk, throwing her belongings around the room, screaming. Blanche is right there in the bathroom. Like, you would hear your sister and her husband yelling about you.
And they're in a small space.
Oh, it's cramped quarters. But then Stella leaves the room. Blanche comes out, and Stanley's there in his sweaty shirt. His first act, after they look at each other, is, hey, I need to take my shirt off. And says, it's my philosophy that people should feel comfortable. And Blanche says, oh, that's my philosophy too. There's this awkward tension between them. And here he is basically stripping down with his sweaty Marlon Brando chest out there and then putting on a new fresh shirt. And she's over here fluttering.
She's flirting with him.
Flirting with him. I also told April about this. It bothered me when Blanche talked to her sister privately about Stanley too, because she was always gushing about what an ape he is. What an ape. He's barely even human. And the way she says it, almost...
It's like she likes it.
You like it, Blanche.
Yeah. Well, she even says, you know me, I had to flirt with him.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a huge problem.
I handled him and I had to flirt with him, but you know me, you know how I am.
Like, you read words on the page, and I guess you just kind of hear them in your head. However, so even before I watched it again, just reading it on the page, I almost imagine Blanche is breathy when she says ththings like, he's barely even human. He's an ape. He's an animal. Like, you are excited that he's this animal. I mean, Stella's excited about it too. There's supposed to be some sort of sexual magnetism to Stanley Kowalski, but he is a brute. He's a brute that doesn't really have time for fancy lies unless he's flirting back with Blanche. Because he doesn't come right out and start accusing her or anything. He kind of they have
it's
some
a game.
chit-chat.
It's a cat and mouse game that they have.
Oh, Blanche, Stanley, shoo. But yeah, and then there's some interactions, the poker game that comes up later on. Stanley starts getting in a bad mood because he's losing to his buddies. And Blanche and Stella are being loud in the next room.
Playing music.
The audacity that they're playing music,
yes.
right? Blanche can't stand being in the harsh light of the room. The light in the Kowalski house it's just a hanging light bulb. There's no shade or anything. Blanche has to cover it with a paper shade. And I think what a great symbol, what a great metaphor that Blanche cannot stand the harsh light of truth in her life. She has to paper it over. She has to shade it with all her lies. Doesn't she even tell Mitch at one point that a lady deserves to have her little hidden details?
Yes.
She's allowed to have the dignity of her lies. But Stanley really crosses the line. I mean, he really crosses the line in that scene because he comes and throws the stereo out. And then when Stella accuses him and she yells at him, what does Stanley do?
He hits her.
He hits her on stage in front of God and everybody. His buddies kind of tear him apart some, and Blanche and Stella run out upstairs. And that brings us to my favorite part that I will never forget. I think audiences and Seinfeld always remember is when Stanley's out in the street and he's drunkenly kneeling down screaming, Stella! Stella! I don't know about you, but boy, I know that Stanley Kowalski. And I ain't going to name names, but I have known guys who have crossed the line or have been real dirtbags, and here you are wishing she'd take you back, and you're going to play that song, and I'm sitting over here like, ain't. No way, you're a dirtbag. Stella immediately, within 5 minutes, takes him back.
Oh, yeah.
Takes him back.
Passionately.
Oh, yes. He's even fingering like through her shirt. Like you just hit her.
And I mean, it's like they can't wait to tear each other's clothes off.
No. And Blanche is like, it's not bizarre to us, but to her, she's just like the bizarreness of you're
what
taking
is going
him back.
on?
He's an animal. He's a brute. You can't do this. I don't know. I don't know that I fully understand the mind of a person like Stella.
No.
I know that she makes allowances for this Stanley Kowalski guy. And I know women and men in these kind of relationships that do. I guess we all lie to ourselves as people. But she and Stanley get back together. And then Blanche starts up a relationship with Mitch. And Mitch is such a good guy.
He really is. He is the only likable character in this play, really. I mean...
What about his mama?
Yeah, his mama just wants him to find somebody.
She's sick and dying, and
Yep.
she just wants to see me married.
Yeah.
What a good guy, Mitch.
Yep. My mama wanted to know how old you were.
And that's a touchy subject for Blanche, too.
Yes.
Which Blanche is not like old, but she's Stella's older sister. And she insists on being in the half light of things because, I don't want you to know how old I am. It's just another one of these lies.
And this, facade of this purity that she has.
Yeah. You just made me think, was there an item that she had in hand? Maybe I'm remembering that wrong.
So his cigarette case?
Tell me about his cigarette case.
It had, was it an engraving? A quote?
Yes. There was a quote in there, and it was a gift to him. And I'm struggling to remember. I should have the play in front of me.
The quote.
I can't remember the quote, but I'm also struggling to remember, why was it so endearing to him? Who gave it to him? I can't remember.
I can't either.
Okay, well, we're
I
gonna
just
skip
remember
this
her
part.
fascination with it. And to me, it was like his shiny object. And she was like, ooh,
Yeah.
look at this beautiful thing.
She's a dangerous woman for him, though, because he's a good guy, Mitch.
He is.
And this fallen woman, you have no idea, yet what you're getting into. But Stanley, he's got an expert. He knows a guy. He knows a guy who's heard about you, Miss Blanche, and I'm going to tell, Mitch about you, and I'm going to tell all your tales about you.
One of my favorite lines in their little back and forth when it is revealed what her shady life was like. And he's like, I know you slept with a man named Shaw at the Flamingo. And she was like, it was actually the tarantula. It's like, oh, okay. Excuse me.
Oh, Blanche. What a terrible thing, Blanche.
Like a comeback. It was actually the tarantula.
Real world scenario. So you have a friend who is in a relationship with this person that you really suspect is a dirtbag, and that they probably have a lot of baggage with them and everything, but you can't quite prove it yet. But then one day, Sarah has heard some stuff, and Sarah tells you all about it and is like, oh, dirtbag. They've been involved with this person. They are filthy. They've had all this bad juju in their past. Do you say anything about it to your friend who is dating that person? Or do you let them find out about it on their own?
I feel like I would say something.
Yeah.
I do. Like, I don't know if I could go on and hold that in.
I don't either.
I think I would have to say something. I have a hard time. Now, I mean, this is me meddling, but I mean, I have a hard time when it's a student that I love and I know they're dating an absolute gross boy.
Yeah.
Or I have them later in class and I'm like, I hear the things he says. I know how he acts in class. For me to be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? So yeah.
I think you have to.
You have
I think
to.
you should.
Yes. I think that's the only answer.
The problem is Stanley Kowalski does that, though. And I feel like he's a rotten guy for Stanley, you are breaking something right now. Because he's tearing Mitch's happiness in, too.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think...
It's the pleasure he takes from it, though.
That's my problem.
I mean, it would be different if he went to him and was like, Mitch, man, I know you really like Blanche, but I have found some things out. She's not good enough for you because blank, blank, blank. But it's the fact he's like, oh, I knew it. It's like he's taking pride in destroying this relationship.
You hit it on the head. That's what I hate about it. He's the devil.
It's smug. He's
the devil.
smug.
He's sitting back cackling that he's breaking this for them. I'll edit this out too. But I, once upon a time, had a friend who worked here in this building, and we went to a summer conference together. And the friend was married and was friends with other people in this building. And while we were at the conference, he had his room, I had my room. And there were plenty of times that when we would come back to the hotel, like he wouldn't want to hang out or anything. He's like, no, I'm expecting a call from another teacher in this building, a woman teacher. And I was just like, oh, okay, that's weird, but okay. And I don't know that I thought anything about it. I don't know that I wanted to think anything about it, but whatever. When I came back to school, when school started that fall, he and his wife were getting a separation. There was a big blow up about it. And a certain principal in this building was friends with the wife and came to me and said, I need to know, was he doing anything at that hotel this summer? And I'm just like, oh no, what do I say? Hannah, what do I say? Do I tell or do I not? What would you do? This whole part's getting edited out because I know way too many people if they hear it. If they ever hear it.
Oh, gosh. Like, on one hand, it's like you want to be loyal to your friend, and like sharing that information obviously is going to be used against him.
It was Michael Gage.
That's what I was going to say. I wondered if it was, when you said that.
I just kind of looked at her and I was like, I don't know, man. You might think so, but I don't know that I don't. And she said, that's all I needed to know. And I was like, hey, dude. I didn't say anything. I don't know anything. And she's like, well, I'm going to go tell his wife. I have to go tell his wife. And I said, I don't know. I think she knows enough. Now's just kind of the time that we all act shocked, like, or sympathetic. I don't know. But she went and told about it, and it caused a big blow up here because professionally, you're her superior and you're stirring stuff up. Ooh, it was ugly. Stanley just takes way too much joy out of seeing the chaos. He's the devil.
Yeah.
But then they have Blanche's birthday party, and we're coming to the end out of these 10, 11 scenes. They have Blanche's birthday party, and it's not fun at all. No. It's like the best of Shakespeare plays where there's supposed to be this fun party, and ain't nobody having fun at all. There's even an empty chair because Mitch didn't come to her party.
Nope.
He's disillusioned.
Nope. But Blanche is making up all these illusions of why he's not there. She's got a story. I broke up with him.
She can't live with the truth of things, right?
No.
That night, Stella goes into labor. And Stanley takes her to the hospital and then comes back, and it's just Stanley and Blanche in the house. And he says that the hospital said, oh, she won't have the baby till tomorrow, so there's no need for me to be there. And the tension, the sexual tension, the violence, the whatever between them is creeping to a head. He brings out another symbol, those silk pajamas of his. And he says he only wears them on special occasions. And since he's having a boy tonight, he's going to wear them tonight. But that, again, would involve stripping down to almost nothing. And here you're wearing like an intimate garment with her. And there's nothing but like a curtain to separate the two rooms.
And she's drunk.
And she's drunk. What ultimately happens?
He rapes her.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like he wins this game in his eyes. He wins this game between the two of them.
He even says it that way, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's...
his turn.
Yeah. He says, I think you and me have had this coming since the start. He throws her over his shoulder like a caveman and takes her away. Now, we, the audience, don't see what happens, but we all know. And then by the final scene, Stella's back at the house. The baby's upstairs with Eunice, and Blanche is in the bathroom once again, taking a bath, always taking a bath. But we're getting the house ready because a doctor comes for Blanche. Stella chooses to believe her husband. She betrays her sister and says, I don't really believe Stanley would do that. Because you either choose to believe Stanley and you lose your husband and you lose your sister, because Blanche is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs by this point.
Oh, yeah.
Or you choose to believe the lie and you keep your husband, keep your family, and lose your sister. And Stella chooses to betray her sister she sends her off to the funny farm.
And she knows it's true.
Oh, you know it.
Yeah. It's like the way she words it. I couldn't believe Blanche and go on living with Stanley.
Yeah.
It's like, I've had to do it. This is my only choice. And so she knows it happened.
Yeah. Now that is the part that they changed at the end of the Hollywood movie, is that Stella doesn't completely just accept Stanley. Mm-hmm. You can tell by the end of the movie that they're not going to have such a great working out end.
Right.
Because Hollywood was like, I don't know that audiences are going to be completely okay with this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's our play. That's our story. Great performances. Did you ever get to watch any of them?
I watched half of the Marlon Brando version.
Okay. What do you think?
So I didn't get to the end. I
rented
it.
just wanted to watch Marlon Brando.
I did. I wanted to see him without his shirt.
What did you think of what you saw?
Well, I mean, to me, they did it well.
Yeah.
What I saw. But I have not seen the end of it yet, obviously. But, I mean, he was icky as Stanley.
Yeah.
I couldn't... Ugh. But the sweat comes through in the movie. You can just tell it's hot, it's sweaty. And, I mean, when you're hot and sweaty, you're frustrated and tensions rise. And, I mean, it's tense.
Yeah. Originally in the stage play, they cast Jessica Tandy, who everybody knows from like Driving Miss Daisy and some 80s movies and stuff. I've never been able to wrap my head around Jessica Tandy being a young woman. Mm-hmm. But I've seen pictures from the production, and she was a younger woman with her blonde hair swept up. But when they come to the movie, they would not cast Jessica Tandy in the movie. They felt like even though, where is she? Yeah, she won a Tony Award for this, for Best Actress. They would not accept her for the film version of it. They had to recast her with Vivien Leigh because Vivien Leigh had, heavier acting chops, and she had been Scarlett O'Hara. And then I told my wife, I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense, though, because everybody's going to know Vivien Leigh as Scarlett O'Hara from A Plantation. Mm-hmm. Scarlett's a fallen woman, and here she's following these delusions and chasing after men. So that kind of makes sense for her to be a Blanche Dubois, too.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of other people have played in it. You've got Anne Margaret, that a lot of people from, I think, previous generations would remember how gorgeous Anne Margaret was. But she gets to play the older Blanche to Beverly D'Angelo's younger Stella.
Did she play the mom in Christmas Vacation?
That's right.
Okay.
That's Beverly D'Angelo. She was Stella Kowalski.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
I don't know. I always kind of thought Beverly D'Angelo was kind of smoking.
Yeah.
I always thought she was great. But Anne Margaret, when she was younger, she even appeared in one of the Grumpy Old Men movies because she was just a gorgeous woman, period. Jessica Lange played in a version made for TV. And that's another one that I watched, but I got bored with. Mm-hmm. The Stanley Kowalski in that one is Alec Baldwin. And again, he's a sweaty Stanley Kowalski. Mm-hmm. And I think Alec Baldwin and Jessica Lange are probably both perfect for those roles, too. The Mitch in that movie is John Goodman, who's just such a good guy who comes around. And he's such a young John Goodman, too, that it's just hard to picture. Like, you're a good guy, Mitch. You're a good guy. Cate Blanchett, Rachel Weisz, a lot of people. I put this list together because a lot of people who have played Blanche Dubois, the actress is going to walk away with an award. Like playing Blanche Dubois,
Gets you an award.
Gets you an award. Like, this is a major role right here for you.
So you have down here, John C. Reilly played Mitch at one point. Was Natasha Richardson Blanche?
Yeah.
Wow.
Right?
I would have liked to have seen that.
I've seen pictures of it, but I've never seen there may be YouTube clips of it out there.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do some research.
I don't know who played the Stella in that one.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times Stella is played by an actress that maybe doesn't get such big name
Not as recognizable. Right? Yeah.
The one in the Marlon Brando movie was Kim Hunter. And I was trying to think, where have I seen her before? Because I don't know that I really recognize her. Boy, I really recognized her when I found out she played in Planet of the Apes, because I was like, oh, yeah, she's Dr. Zira. She's one of the chimpanzee scientists. So I remember Kim Hunter from those movies. But yeah, Stanley Kowalski played by Joel Edgerton in one version.
I can't see Paul Mescal.
Why?
He's so timid.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that I copied down from this review is that he was noted for a quieter, more psychologically complex Stanley, who's reflecting modern understandings of masculinity. I don't know. Is that Stanley Kowalski,
though? If that's going to play off. I mean, I think Stanley has to be this brute of a man.
Yeah. Of course, Carl Malden, for anybody who knows like older movies, Carl Malden was famous for playing Mitch. But yeah, those are our people. If I'm thinking of classic lines that I would teach here, I think one of the cool first ones is when she shows up and she says, she's talking about the way that she got here. And she said, they told me to take a streetcar named Desire and then transfer to one called Cemeteries and then ride 6 blocks and get off at Elysian Fields. And when I first read that, like it's been decades since I read this play, but I read that and I was like, red flag, red flag. You're following desire to go through a cemetery and wind up at Elysian Fields, a Greek afterlife. This is a tragedy.
Oh, yeah.
This is never going to end well for you. Blanche, with her pursuit of fantasy and delusion, says, I want magic. I want magic. I don't want realism.
Right after that, too, I made note on mine. She also says, I don't tell the truth. I tell what ought to be the truth.
As a person who defends literature and you have kids in class who are like, but why are we reading these things? These characters aren't even real. One of the, I don't want to be a cliche, but one of the lines that I always give them is like, fiction tells lies that tell us the truth. Like it presents a whole bunch of lies that tell us the truth about things. But that's kind of Blanche Dubois too, is that she wants to tell things the way they ought to be. But through her experience, boy, I'm seeing a whole lot of truth about people who delude themselves and you keep living in this fantasy. It ain't going to work.
Oh, yeah.
Stanley Kowalski's line, every man is a king and I'm the king around here. What a macho, what a macho douchebag thing to say. But yeah, there's that delusion, that patriarchal, masculine, macho delusion of I'm the king of this biz. I say all of that, and I don't think I even have an audience really for this show, but if I do have an audience out there and you all are listening, I'm trying to think, why do these plays relate now? Mm-hmm. And we just recently came through an election where afterward, there were influencers, there were podcasters who were blatantly bragging and laughing as if this election should be a slap in the face to every woman in America. And the line was, it was your body, but it's my choice. Ha, ha, ha. That's a Stanley Kowalski.
It is.
So maybe Streetcar Named Desire is more socially relevant than I thought when I first wanted us to talk about this, because there's plenty of Stanley Kowalskis in our country right now. They're like in office or in homes or in jobs or wherever. I think I used to be deluded that, I think we've moved on. But maybe I'm the Blanche Dubois who's like, oh, no, I think we've moved on, and I really don't see the truth sitting in front of me. And here it is. It's on display nowadays. There are so many Stanley Kowalskis out there. But I guess in that metaphor somewhere, Stella is the one who's willing to accept it and just, I'll deal with this right now. What a horrible, maybe there is a whole conversation to be had about America in 26 and who's the Stanley, who's the Stella, who's the Blanche. And maybe I'm just Mitch. Mitch over here who's sick of all of you all. I'm sick of all of you all out here.
My mama just wants me to get married.
I'm going to go sit with my mom now. The classic line at the end of the play that Vivian Lee gets to say, that all our Blanches get to say, it's the one she's known for. I've always depended on the kindness of strangers. But I mean, it's tragedy and it's irony. Here you are depending on these strangers. I don't know, have you wrapped your head around what's happening to you, Blanche? You've depended on the kindness of these people who took you into their house, who's supposed to be family, but Stanley, I don't know, that's more of a stranger than family. You're depending on the delusions, the lies of all these people, but Blanche, you've crashed, and your life is a train wreck, and you're spiraling down the sink right now.
And I mean, Eunice is encouraging Stella to believe her husband, and there's really no kindness from strangers for Blanche.
Really not.
It's very yellow wallpaper-ish.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I use yellow wallpaper in AP Lit. So maybe...
My favorite short story ever.
Is it More Than Autumn? More Than Langston
okay,
Hughes'
hold
story?
on.
Oh, 'cause
Early
I heard
Autumn
today.
is flash fiction.
Okay, but I
It's
heard today
flash
that was
fiction.
the perfect
It
story.
is. It's the perfect story. It's a 5. It's a 5 out of 5. 20 out of 20. But it's flash fiction. So
Okay.
it is not a short story. My favorite short story is The Yellow Wallpaper.
Yellow wallpaper is one that I use toward the end of AP Lit. But if we're getting into a final conversation here about why does a play like Streetcar not feature in classrooms or stages and why should it, maybe it would pair really well with something like yellow wallpaper. Well, obviously, we always say, we've come to say so far, why do we not use a play like Streetcar? Why does it not usually feature in classrooms? We're always running out of time. We're running out of time right now. We always run out of time. Why else would we not use? Why does it not show up in our conversations in classes?
I mean, is it just the content, you think? Like the explicit content? Is it trigger warnings of rape and manipulation and abuse?
I would agree. I would agree that would probably have to be part of it.
I feel like anymore we live in a world where, I mean, we read One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest in 10th grade with you.
You guys were the year that I allowed, I wanted to do an independent novel, and groups could do One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Oh, was that your year or a different year that I did like small groups with it?
The whole class read One Flew
whole
Over
class.
Cuckoo's Nest.
Man, I was pretty gutsy early on in my career. We read Cuckoo's Nest back then.
But I mean, that to me, that's a sign of like the changing times of what, I mean, it's like people are touchier about things.
Yeah.
And to me, a story like this is important because it's almost a warning.
Yeah.
It's like this could happen. And I think it does happen. Yeah. And it's a warning to you of don't let these things happen.
Yeah.
Don't
Man,
be a Stella.
I feel like a fraud sitting in front of my classrooms so often. I literally had a conversation with all of my senior classes yesterday because we're starting off Beowulf, and I try to be big-minded about it. And it's like we're talking about British literature and society. We're talking about American society. And Beowulf is very much a story about the rise and fall of a society, of a hero. So when we talk about America, what are y'all's attitudes about America? And I try not to step on any toes. I'm not here to indoctrinate, no matter what some of these people say. But I want to know, like, do you guys believe America's great? And when certain folks say, make it great again, you're hearkening back to apparently a previous time when it was great. Well, when was that? Because if we're always going to say, back in the good old days.
When are the good old days?
Were they really that good? What are y'all talking about? And is America great now? And what are we looking ahead to? Are we headed toward greatness? So I try to have conversations about that. And lately, in the last few years, I've gotten darker and darker answers from my seniors about that. And these are kids that I think, just politically speaking, I do think a lot of them would have voted a certain way. That I'm kind of surprised by their conversations in here. Oh, you're being very vocal about how disturbed you are by things now. And I wouldn't have expected that from you. But the answer that we keep getting, I felt like a fraud trying to be a good encourager, saying, well, even though we're in the dark times or even though you feel like that, really, you have it pretty good in America. Really, you have a pretty good situation with this and this. So try to keep your chin up. You've got a good country and all of that. And then I go home and I see on the news things that just happened in Minneapolis and everything. And all I can do is look at my wife and say that I'm just so sick. I'm just so sick of the fatigue is so real of having to turn around and smile to these kids and be an encourager and then turn around and see the tragedy that daily unfolds in front of us. And the woman who recently lost her life in Minneapolis, who was senselessly shot, that's not a Blanche Dubois. She's not leading some life that, you're set for a train wreck. But as a country, I feel like so many of us are just deluding ourselves. Or heck, even me, maybe I'm part of the problem in trying to be a good encourager. Maybe I should be having more conversations. I don't want to be an indoctrinator.
Right.
I don't want to be what they say that I am. But Blanche Dubois is a living reality. Stanley Kowalski is a living reality. And if you are collaborating like Stella, if you are going to take to your TikToks
and turn a blind eye.
When certain people are killed, you're going to say, oh, we shouldn't be killed for our political beliefs. But then like when this lady is shot senselessly in her car, not running you down, and y'all aren't going to take to TikTok and say anything about that? Like, you're part of the problem, Stella. You are perpetuating this violence, Stella. You are betraying your blood family, Stella. So it very much is a play that matters to these audiences. But man, if I tried teaching Cuckoo's Nest nowadays, oh man, how many years ago was that we did that?
I graduated in 14, 15 was my senior year.
So this would have been
sophomore.
12, 13, 2012. So when Atticus was born, my youngest son, when he was born. So he was an infant baby when I taught this to you. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. You recommended a wonderful book. Hey, if you all out there in Radio America have never read Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin, go read it. I praise it all the time. You recommended that my sophomores read it, and I thought it was a great option for them. But you and I both heard a lot of flack from parents about that. That book doesn't even nearly approach some of the issues that are in Cuckoo's Nest. And I think a play like Streetcar Named Desire would present similar things to an audience. I think there would be parents out there who would be ringing bells about it. But
I could see this like comparable to Handmaid's Tale.
Ooh. And
It's like not like you don't get the rape scene.
Right.
But you know what's happening. I mean,
Right.
it's clear enough that you know what's happening.
Right.
And so, I mean, there's not vulgar language in this, but
there's alcoholic use left and right. There's
physical abuse.
the overt sexuality between
Yes.
people in here. There's the rape. There's the physical abuse. There's all of that. Also, I think audiences or parents would not be cool with seeing their students watch a play where we're presenting the man in this abusive, sweaty way, and his wife as, well, I'm just going to let it happen, whatever. We don't want to have conversations like that. Well, Stella doesn't want to have a conversation like that.
No.
And that's why we're going to keep on having these problems, Stella, is because we're not doing it.
Yep.
And Mitch is just sick of it, and Mitch is going to go sit with his mama because he's done with it too. So maybe Streetcar does deserve to have some airplay in an AP Lit classroom. Before we leave, I always want to ask, like, how would you teach this in a classroom, or what would you do?
Okay, I have an idea.
Hit me. I want.
So, I think you focus on how Blanche masked that true self of hers.
Yeah.
She's masking herself. So I imagine you break that down and you look at the self she presents to the public and the true self. And I have this vision of somehow you have like a paper and a paper. And on the first paper, it's what she's presenting. And you have writing involved with it. So maybe on the back of the paper, you write what she presents. You connect it to the text. What is she presenting? Why is she projecting this to the public? Then the second paper, it's her true self. So maybe what are they going to see when the lights are on?
Yeah.
You know, okay, she's got some wrinkles. And okay, she no longer has Belle Reve. And okay, she's a lady of the night. And so then on the back of that paper, what actually is her true self? And why or how is that connected to her? Like, how has that come out in her?
Do you envision this being like a mask project where we have layers of masks?
It could
or do you
be.
want it to be writing?
It was more so like paper, like a silhouette, like a face.
So a face that we
face
draw
and a
out and
face.
design and that kind of thing.
Because I imagine she's actually like, her top face could be the beautiful Southern belle, pure innocent that she's presenting.
Yeah.
But then you open it up and she's got some wrinkles. She's got some dark circles because she's drunk all the time. Her makeup might be smeared.
Will certainly be smeared.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I love that idea. How would, if you wanted kids to write about it, you want them to write about the contrast between what we see and what actually is.
Right.
That's a conversation that...
And why do we do this? That was what I put. Why do we do this? Why do we present something different to the public? And I mean, you could even pull this into social media influencers, because that life that they're projecting is not their real life.
Oh.
And I know personally an example of this. The life they're presenting to you, to the public, they're doing something totally different, and it's literally a projection.
Yeah.
So why do we, as people, feel the need to do that? Why do we feel like we need this facade?
Sister, this is such a good literacy lesson as well, because I just went off on a tangent with my seniors about being literate, and that if you aren't willing to be a literate society, who benefits from you being illiterate? Like, if you aren't able to read and write, how are you ever going to know when you're being lied to by those who can? For us, literacy, especially in 2026, has to be more than just reading and writing books and plays. Literacy has to be about reading the news and reading between the lines of what you're told and what you're not told.
Okay, so you could pull this into, you could have the kids pick a sibling, and you could do this of, you could do it with Blanche or you could do it with Stella. If you chose Blanche, you could do like a research project on social media and why these influencers present themselves that way. If you chose Stella, why are people no longer educating themselves and like reading the news and keeping up with this? And why are we as a society becoming illiterate?
Yes.
Because it's almost like she doesn't want to know things.
Blanche. Or Stella.
Stella.
Oh,
I'm
heck.
saying Stella. It's almost like Stella is okay with being blissfully unaware. And it's like you're being told these things of your husband raped me.
Yeah.
But you're just going to be like,
Willingly disbelieves that.
Yeah.
But Blanche also doesn't want to believe a lot of these things too. And until you had just said that, it never really clicked in my head just how similar both sisters are in that way, that they kind of want to both just believe the lie and move on.
Which is also, you could relate that to Old South even.
Yeah. Southern Gothic.
Southern Gothic.
We should have done this whole episode where I'm wearing a white suit and you have this fancy dress and we have a couple of mint juleps.
Sitting on a front porch.
I'm completely parched. I do declare.
Ooh, just every once in a while. Ooh, with a fan.
And then we get to tell the kids, see what a lie it is. I don't talk that way. See, that's not what this is.
We were actually sitting in a classroom drinking hot chocolate.
That's exactly right.
Drinking cocoa.
In a sweaty January. It is not January outside. Get it together, January. In Macbeth, one of the big themes that I try to come across with is the difference, the duality between appearances and the reality of things, right? That just because you see it that way doesn't mean it's really that way. King Duncan tells us, that there is no art to finding the mind's construction in the face, that you can look at somebody, but that's not really who they are. And you can look at these influencers and yeah, it's really easy for you to believe, man, I wish I had muscles like that, or man, I wish I had hair like that. That's not really who they are, that there's so much lie that goes behind the makeup and the whatever. So literacy is being able to read behind what you're shown. And, we can preach it, but so many of our kids don't really get that. Maybe Streetcar and a lesson like this would fit with a segue from Macbeth to yellow wallpaper and stuff. Ooh, I'm kind of excited about teaching this now. Maybe I will use this next year. And then we can have Miss Randolph come back in and do like a collab in class with it.
And we can talk about yellow wallpaper too with Streetcar.
Totally do that.
All of it. All of it.
I love it.
Give me all of it.
You've had kids do scrapbooks with
Crawdads.
Crawdads, that's right, where all the crawdads sing. And so I was thinking, maybe kids could do like an 8 to 10 page scrapbook with something. But I didn't really love it. And then I was like, I would need Hannah to show me how to do something like that. I clearly don't know what I'm doing with it. But I love your approach is not just sometimes I get so high and mighty about Crayola curriculum. Like, I know we like doing the posters, but it also needs to be the writing stuff. So I like your idea also being a step toward the writing about it. But I think a scrapbook could also do the imagery or whatever, but include the writing with it.
Yeah, that's why I love that part. So they feel like they're doing the Crayola craft.
Yeah.
And really, they're writing an entire essay.
I kind of want students to also have an activity where they look at tropes of women from the 1940s and 50s and what were women depicted as. Like, I know we can say, well, women are women, but you get Rosie the Riveter, and neither Blanche nor Stella is a Rosie the Riveter.
No.
Matter of fact, this country only had so much use for a Rosie the Riveter. And after that's done, they often want her to go back to being Susie Homemaker. So I wanted to get like students to find depictions of women. Show me what Lucy, I Love Lucy, looked like, or show me what Leave It to Beaver's mom looked like, or show me what all these other tropes of women you can find in movies and in TV and books, radio dramas, whatever. And are they depicted as heroines? Are they depicted as victims, like housewives? Like, how are we depicting women?
Right.
And then come at it with, well, here's Blanche, and here's Stella, and here's Eunice. So let's look at the depiction of women from a completely different male perspective, right? It is, Toby brought this up too, that maybe we don't necessarily need to have conversations about people like Eugene O'Neill or others who may have had bad influences or bad experiences with women and then go on to depict women poorly in plays. Will Shakespeare almost always just gives you two women in a play, and usually they're not great depictions of women. Neither Blanche nor Stella, I think they're complex characters. You can't just come down and say, oh, well, they're evil. But you're right, from the start, we're not really rooting for either one of them, right? They make bad choices. So it's a great way to experience how a man like Tennessee Williams is depicting women. Well, where do those influences come from? Where do those social depictions come from? Those are my ideas. I don't know. I also thought maybe we could do paper lanterns, like some of these bloom balls. But then every time I was like, oh, yeah, you could have them do paper lanterns, and like a blooms ball, you could have each facet of it be something about Blanche or Stella or Stanley. But then what are you supposed to do? Put them up around a light bulb and set them on fire? I think it's such a fire hazard lesson idea. I don't know that we should do that. But I don't know. Everything basically burning down in this family to begin with. So maybe we should. Any final thoughts you have about Streetcar?
I do think the bathtub was symbolic, and her constantly taking a bath, a hot bath, in an already hot, crowded place. I think it was supposed to be like cleansing or baptism, or she's trying to get back to purity. She wants to be what she's.
And the music that comes in with it, too. There's music like the polka and the blue piano, the jazz that's playing. So Williams is he's got a good ear for music that's supposed to be a subtext for these things. And at one point, Stanley and Stella are going at their argument, and you can hear Blanche in there singing about, it wouldn't be make-believe if you just believe in me. And so here she is in the tub trying to scrub away whatever filth or whatever. But she's just deluding herself. This bath, taking a bath. I don't know. You think I should use it next year? Yeah. You also said that you never really studied plays or anything before.
No, I'm enjoying reading them. I mean, it inspired me to pick up August Osage County.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait for us to do that.
I can't wait for you to read that.
I know
about Southern
nothing about it now.
Can I tell you a little synopsis? It's like the very briefest, just how it starts off. It's not a spoiler at all.
Part of me was wondering, should I ask her or should I just be completely okay? Hit me.
Okay, so it starts off and it's this husband and wife, and they're elderly, but their children are all in their 40s. They have daughters, and the husband is hiring this Indian woman to come in and take care of the house. She's young. I think she's in her 20s. And you find out that the wife has had mouth cancer, and she's on all kinds of medicines. And some of the medicines, like she's addicted to them. By the end of the day, she's slurring her speech. She's hard to understand. She's mean. And he loves reading. That's one of the beginning things. He's got a room full of books. And then it flashes forward and he's gone. He's left and never come back. And so he's missing. And they're trying to find him. The kids are all coming home because dad's missing. Mom is still sick. This woman is here trying to take care of the house. No one wants her there because dad hired her. And it's just this dysfunctional family where everyone kind of hates everyone and mom's mean.
Coming soon to an episode of Second Stage. We're going to read August. What is it? Osage?
August Osage County.
August Osage County. You know, I've heard the title before, but I knew nothing about it.
Wonderful.
Getting into it.
I love the movie. It's one of my favorite movies. And then after reading Trifles, I was looking into plays and I saw that it was a play. Yeah. And so I thought, I'm going to read it.
I have another one that I'm going to give you. I already have another one that I'm going to give you.
Yes.
So comparing this to Trifles, because that's what I was going to ask, is like Trifles was like your first step with this, and now you've done Streetcar. Do you prefer one over the other out of these two?
I think I liked Trifles more, not for the length or anything. I just liked the story with Trifles.
Yeah.
I liked the mystery behind it, and but I also think that's because I gravitate towards mystery, thriller, detective novels. And so fair. I think I liked the walking through the crime of Trifles.
Now I need to look at more crime plays that are worth giving a review.
So I like reading crime, mystery, thrillers, and I like reading dysfunctional families. Those are my two lanes of literature.
Well, the good thing is that so much of our theater is about dysfunctional families. I mean, from the Greeks on up, you could start with Antigone or any of them. It's about dysfunctional families.
For sure. Romeo and Juliet.
It's always there. It's always the family. You have to end by screaming Stella.
Stella! Stella!
It's one of my favorite Seinfeld bits is when Elaine is high on painkillers and she meets Jerry's aunt and her name's Stella and she goes, Stella! Stella! Second Stage is a Free Zone radio production, recorded in Sparta, Tennessee. If you enjoyed the show, please give it a like, share it, subscribe for more. Word of mouth is the best advertising. And if you want to hear more, look up our other podcast with honors, now in its newest season, and our brother podcasts, A Dead Man's Books and Haston Curation. You can find them on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you consume great podcasts.
Hey everyone, my name is Drew, and I want to talk to you about my show, A Dead Man's Books. The show was created with the mindset of whenever I pass away, as morbidly as that sounds, that my children would inherit my books, and of all the things that I'm going to pass down to them, I think that that's the one thing that I want them to make sure that they keep and go through on their own time, but I want to be there next to them whenever they read these things. And so I created a podcast so that they could go back and listen to me and my friends and other people as we read through these books and what we had to think about it. But it's grown to so much more. We've got authors we interview. We talk about everyday life. We talk about how literature connects to life. All of those things in one place. And now we want you to come along with us and join us. This is a podcast not just for my kids, but for everyone who loves to read, everyone who loves a good story, everyone who's a parent, everyone who's a teacher, everyone who just enjoys literature. This is a place to come. So come join us every Monday on A Dead Man's Books.